What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Put him in a tub and wet him all over. And so it would go on.
As the English nut, it's a dream come true for me to be able to meet him and talk to him. Thank you so much, Mr. Bond.
Thank you for arranging this little get-together. And I look forward to chatting to you and about books, writing, anything under the sun.
There's a little poem there which you have written, which is actually a little ghost story.
Okay. All right. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts? Asked the passenger on platform number 3. I'm a rational man, said I. I believe in what I can see. Your hands, your feet, your beard. Then look again, said he, and promptly disappeared. Yeah, I used that as a little introduction to some ghost stories of mine, I think.
Right. So,
I've written lots of ghost stories.
There was a
famous murder here.
Yeah.
Yes, I can talk about that. Yeah. That's going back to 1911 or 1912, the year the Titanic went down. And there was a lady living here. There's a ladies' block there too, where in those days, there was a ladies' block, it's not there, where sort of single ladies of affluence could rent apartments. And this well-known lady from a well-known English family would spend the summers here.
I think her name was Frances Garnet Orme.
Garnet Orme, yes. Miss Garnet Orme.
Yeah.
And she had a companion, Miss Montague or something like that. Anyway, never mind her name. And they used to indulge in crystal gazing. You know, in those days it was very fashionable. It had been made fashionable by, I think, Madame Blavatsky and the Theosophists and those people. And it was said that her companion gained a lot of influence over her, and the old lady made her will in the favor of her companion. And then the companion was away for about a week in Jhansi, and while she was away, the old lady died, apparently, of strychnine poisoning. Well, so it was proved. So how did she come to take the strychnine poison, the strychnine, you know? Apparently it was in her cough mixture, and the companion had put it in the cough mixture, and the strychnine usually goes down to the bottom of the bottle. So she only came to the fatal dose after 2 or 3 days. She had to sort of take a spoon every night. So she came to the fatal dose while the companion was away in Jhansi, so they couldn't establish any evidence there. And the old lady died, and so the doctor committed suicide, and there was a whole scandal attached to it. And because she was from a well-known British family, this case was reported in all the English papers. And in fact, it's on record that Kipling wrote to his friend Conan Doyle, telling him that this is a case that, you know, Sherlock Holmes should be investigating. But that was just in their correspondence. But you see, 2 or 3 years later, Agatha Christie wrote her first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. And in it, I don't know if she'd read up about this case or not, but in it the plot follows exactly the circumstances of this particular case. You know, the governess poisons the cough mixture with strychnine, and she's away at the time when the old lady takes the fatal dose, and then of course Hercule Poirot comes along and solves it. But so the plot is very similar, and so I thought it was just a theory of mine that maybe she'd read about this case since it was widely publicized, and she just thought that was a good plot for her novel. And so that's just a little detective work on my part, which may or may not put me in the ranks of Hercule Poirot.
Right.
But there it is. Poirot never came to India, of course.
Right.
The
famous Belgian detective.
Nor did Agatha Christie.
Right.
Nor did Conan Doyle, though he wrote a ghost story which had one or two ghost stories which had, although Conan Doyle did defend an Indian, Mr. Idalji, who had been wrongly convicted for murder in a particular case, and he got him acquitted.
Oh.
So there it is. That's the mystery of Miss Garnet Orme's death in 1912.
Wow.
Or 1911, it was one or the other.
Yeah. Changing the
topic. I haven't seen a ghost, I have to.
Have you seen anybody else's ghost?
Of course, I did, in a story, have Kipling come up to the bar. The bar was in this room then, and Rudyard Kipling coming up to the barman and asking, "Excuse me, but do you sell spirits?" And
I've read that.
Yeah. And he was a spirit. But so I love writing ghost stories, but
yeah, the one that that was really eerie for me was where these people didn't have faces.
Oh, a face in the dark.
Yeah, that was quite.
I just extended that by one paragraph, because kids were complaining. They saying, "Mr. Bond, what happened to Mr. Oliver after he saw first the boy without a face and then the chokidar also without a face?" And in the original version, I'd read Mr. Oliver had his heart attack, but the people who recommended this story for school use didn't want a school teacher having a heart attack. So they cut out the last line. They censored my story. So I'm rewriting it in it. Mr. Oliver, having seen and scared out of his wits by the boy without a face and the chokidar without a face, runs to his own room and looks in the mirror to see if he's still got a face, but he's gone digital. Bring it up to date.
Right. Talking about Mr. Oliver, you wrote a naughty verse about a Mr. Oliver when you were in school.
Can't repeat it here.
It started Ollie, Ollie, Ollie.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie. No.
I think we'll let the viewers look it up in one of your books.
Yeah, it's there, I think, maybe in
I think in Lone
scenes from a writer's life, or
in Lone Fox Dancing is where
one of my memoirs.
I came across. Changing topic, sea shanties, which you used to sing with your dad, and one in particular when you used to have a bath.
Yes.
Could you?
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Put him in a tub and wet him all over. And so it would go on.
Yeah.
We had 2 or 3 gramophone records of sea shanties.
Yeah.
One was this, and the other was Fire Down Below, and there was Shenandoah and others, which were, I used to like these sea shanties. They had In fact, I always loved sea stories. Although I've loved most of my life in the hills, I love reading stories about the sea by Stevenson, by Conrad, other writers who've written about the sea.
When you used to have your bath in the tub with your daddy, and you used to sing this, and apparently your father referred to these baths as ructions.
Yeah, ructions. A very unusual word, because somebody else once asked me, where did the word ructions come from? And to tell you the truth, I always presumed it was just splashing around and making a big sort of, as you would when you jump into a swimming pool, having fun.
So creating ructions.
Creating ructions. And it would have been a word that has gone out of date, I must see if it's in my Oxford English Dictionary. When I go home this evening, I'll look it up.
Yeah. It reminds me of the way that your name was mispronounced by one of your landladies, which was Ruxan.
My name has been mispronounced and misused very often. Yes, my landlady in
Who was
London
Mr.
would call
H's
me
first wife.
Ruskin.
Oh,
And my landlady in Dehradun, who was Punjabi, would say Ruxin.
Ruxan, which sounds like Rukshan.
In London, it was a Jewish landlady, she'd say Ruskin. And in the Punjabi landlady in Dehradun would say Ruxin. But when I went once to the club, the Doon Club, some years back, and I was introduced to a lady who was a bit tipsy, and she'd had 2 or 3 gin tonics, and I was presented to her, and she said, yes, I know who you are. You're that writer fellow, Bunskin Rond. Bunskin Rond, and after that, the friends who were with me, they kept calling me Bunskin or Bun for a long time. Bunskin Rond, and of course, odd things happen. I was talking of Kipling. I was at an airport not long ago, and a lady with a little kid came up to me and asked me, "When are you going to write another Mowgli story?"
Yeah.
So I've been mistaken for a number of people, including Bejan Daruwala.
Oh, that's unusual.
Yes, I was at an airport. Again, these things happen at airports. In the old days, they happened at bus stops and railway platforms. Now they happen at airports. Yeah. And I was sitting there minding my business when a young lady came up to me and said, "Excuse me, but are you Bejan Daruwala?" Well-known astrologer and fortune teller. Right. So I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I have to disappoint you. I'm not, but I'm happy to read your palm. I know something about fortune telling." But she backed away. She sort of got nervous. Yeah. And, "Thank you, no." Yeah. And didn't offer her palm to me, sadly. She was a nice lady. Yeah.
Mr. Bond, thank you very much. It was.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. You made me talk. Normally, I'm a very silent person.
I'm really, really fortunate that you opened up and you were very, very sporting about it.
I am the English nut. Bye for now.
I'm the English nut. Bye for now. I have a special announcement to make for the fans of Ruskin Bond, which is the launch of a new venture called the Ruskin Bond Collections, which consists of signed copies of his books, combinations of different books with objects like this lovely stuffed toy.
Timothy the Tiger Cub.
Timothy the Tiger Cub. So you're going to find all this and more if you go to www.ruskinbond.in.